The Russian challenge is in a way, a self-evident piece, insofar as we feel that Russia is a challenge and a threat not just to itself but to the wider world. And this hasn't been said in such bold terms, that it's not Russia that has changed, it's the West. The West's views have evolved. Russia's have been consistent. They have been consistently anti-Western and consistently defiant.
The point we try to get across is that Russia's recent actions in and around Ukraine are not only posing a challenge to the West in terms of challenging the whole of the post-Cold War international security order in Europe, but also posing a fundamental challenge to Russia as well, particularly in the economy. This insistence on prioritizing military spending when there are so many other economic challenges to Russia at the moment is extremely damaging.
The Russian economy is in a very enfeebled state. And this is a paradox, because we've got a country which is tending increasingly to isolate itself from the rest of the world, or at least from the western part of the world, and to adopt a hostile stance towards many foreign countries with which it's previously been trading and in reasonably tolerable relations with. And now it's in economic difficulties, but it's pursuing this extremely risky adventure in Ukraine.
I think Russia has overreached itself. That even if you imagine, let's say, Russian troops reaching Kiev and installing a government there, it couldn't possibly be a stable government. The present enclaves that Russia controls, although it doesn't admit it's anything to do with it, nonetheless it does control, are inherently unstable. You push forward a bit further, you don't solve your underlying problem, but you do provoke more trouble with the West.
Putin has a very strong interest, partly to preserve his own support at home, and partly to show that he's not the underdog, that he's having his own way with the outside world. He's got a very strong interest in keeping Ukraine unstable, keeping a frozen conflict, but a conflict which occasionally flares up, which keeps everybody on their toes, which keeps everything uncertain, which doesn't allow Ukraine to have control of its own border in the Donetsk and Luhansk region. All of that is something that we have to guard against.
The evolution of Russia itself, internal, I mean the political development within that, which has been going in an increasingly authoritarian direction, has a straight bearing on Russian foreign policies. And the other tone in that has been increasingly evident anti-US, anti-Western rhetoric, so that the present group in Moscow can stay in power, essentially.
The West should not be looking for an easy way out of the current confrontation, because history shows again and again that accommodating Russia in its current mood only leads to future worse confrontation.
The fact is, the West has to come to a choice. Either it can let Russia have its own sphere of influence, its primacy in what it considers to be its backyard, or it can stand up to Russia and say, no, we beat you in the Cold War and we will do so again. But the point is, what can't happen is it can't be done through a process of negotiation with Vladimir Putin. That is quite clear, and that is what is said in this report.